Thank you for joining us this afternoon. On behalf of SAARC Cultural Center, I welcome you all to the first session of the SAARC Talk Series 2025. This is Beena Gandhi Deori, Deputy Director Research, SAARC Cultural Center, Sri Lanka. Through the SAARC Talk Series, the SAARC Cultural Center aims to foster regional cultural integration and knowledge exchange by providing a platform for experts to discuss topics relevant to South Asian heritage and history. So the speaker for the first session is Professor Muhammad Masood Imran. He is a professor in the Department of Archaeology, Jahangirnagar University, Dhaka, Bangladesh. Professor Masood Imran has done his PhD from Hiroshima University, Japan, on safeguarding governmentality of cultural heritage of Bangladesh. At the national and international level, he has published in 28 journals, 7 book chapters, and 7 books. He has also been invited as a paper presenter and keynote speaker in several international seminars and symposiums. He has been awarded the Dr. Surat Ali Khan and Sarfuddin Gold Medal from Jahangirnagar University and the Excellent Student Scholarship Award from Hiroshima University. His research interests on critical theories to understand the past, especially identity and representational politics of the past, spatial pattern of cultural heritage sites, predictive 3D modeling of monuments, etc. So in 2024, his book on safeguarding governmentality of cultural heritage, democratizing, conserving, and representing the past of Global South was published by the University Press Limited. So with this brief introduction, I welcome Professor Masood once again. We are very pleased to have you as our first speaker. So this afternoon, Professor Masood is going to speak on heritage diplomacy, negotiating the mechanisms of geographical indication rights to safeguard the shared living cultural heritage of South Asia. So at the end of the session, there will be question and answer. Those who have any comments or questions can raise their hands, or they can also write their question in the message box down below. So with this introduction, I request Professor Masood to proceed.
Thank you, Dr. Beena Gandhi. Good day, everyone. Let me begin my expressing my gratitude to the SAARC Cultural Center, and in particular to Dr. Beena Gandhi and Professor Julkarnain for extending this kind invitation. And I'm deeply honored to be here, and I view this gathering as an invaluable opportunity to advocate for a dialogue on heritage diplomacy. With this in mind, I'm here to present my talk on heritage diplomacy, negotiating the mechanism of GI rights to safeguard the shared living cultural heritage of South Asia. Today, in fact, I'm going to address a pressing issue that lies at the intersection of cultural identity, international collaboration, and regional self-determination, the absence of effective heritage diplomacy in the global south. And this absence represents not only a missed opportunity to amplify our collective cultural voices, but also a gap that leaves our unique heritage vulnerable to misinterpretation, marginalization, and misappropriation. The global south faces a critical gap in heritage diplomacy, leaving its rich cultural legacies vulnerable to misrepresentation and marginalization. Unlike the global north, which has robust frameworks to safeguard its heritage, the south's voice remains underrepresented in the global discourse. Heritage diplomacy is essential not just for preservation, but for asserting agency and fostering mutual respect. UNESCO's framework of shared, common, and sameness, while intended to promote dialogue, often dilute the distinctiveness of local culture, and particularly in South Asia. We must problematize these approaches and advocate for systems that celebrate the unique identity of our heritage. And I'm going to address the third issue, which is related with the SAARC Cultural Center. And SAARC Cultural Center can lead by adopting mechanisms such as alternative dispute resolution, which is we call ADR, and it is collaborative approach for resolving cultural conflict. Second one is sui genesis system, which is tailored framework to protect unique identity, and European Union logo technology, and it is certification marks to safeguard and promote heritage products. By addressing these gaps and leveraging innovation solution, the global south can amplify its voyages and protect its heritage and foster collaboration on the world stage. Together, let us preserve and celebrate the diversity of our cultural legacy. In fact, I wish to highlight a fascinating and significant intersection. The diplomatic relationships among the frameworks of UNESCO on heritage and intangible cultural heritage, which we call ICH, and the roles of WIPO and WTO in geographical indications or GI. And these discussions bring to light the interplay between cultural preservation, intellectual property, and international trade policy. Uh, uh, in fact, UNESCO's work on ICH emphasized the living aspect of culture, practice, traditions, and knowledge system that communities inherit and continue to evolve. The 1972 on tangible and 2003 on intangible cultural heritage conventions aim not only to protect these elements, but also to foster cultural understanding and diplomacy, which, as heritage often transcends national borders and contributes to a shared sense of humanity. WIPO and WTO protect GIS, which is linking uh, products to their regions to origin and emphasizing quality and cultural uniqueness. For example, champagne, Darjeeling tea, and feta cheese. A WIPO ensures cross-border GI protection through agreements like the Lisbon Agreements and Geneva Act. However, most of the South Asian countries like Bangladesh, they didn't join this Lisbon Agreement and Geneva Act, while WTO's TRIPS framework promotes global trade and protect producers' rights. The diplomatic interactions among heritage, ICH, and GI, how they will be, and the diplomatic relationships among UNESCO's work on heritage and ICH, and WIPO and WTO's framework for GI, and which operate in different levels. One we call cultural preservation and economic value, and UNESCO emphasize preserving heritage for cultural and historical significance, while WTO's GI framework seek to protection the economic value of culturally linked products. And this dual approach ensure that heritage is not only preserved but also provide economic benefits to local communities. Second, bridging cultural and commercial interests. Here, heritage and ICH often align with GIS, for instance, traditional weaving or agricultural practices, and recognized under ICH conventions may also be protected through GIS. This overlap requires diplomatic coordination between UNESCO's cultural policies and TRIPS agreements to ensure mutual respect for cultural and commercial interests. And third, addressing conflicts and misappropriations. In this case, conflict often arises when GI or cultural practices are claimed by multiple countries or communities. For example, dispute over food items or traditional crafts highlight the need for international dialogue to prevent misappropriations. And UNESCO's cultural diplomacy and TRIP's mechanism can work together to mediate this dispute fairly. And in that case, the relationship between this framework also poses a couple of challenges, and also there we found opportunities. And UNESCO's focus on cultural and heritage preservation may sometimes clash with the commercialization of GIS. Not all intangible cultural heritage fits neatly within the legal definitions required for GI protection. Yet, this intersection offers opportunities for global partnership by aligning the goals of cultural preservation and intellectual property rights (IP), and nations can foster sustainable development and which protect cultural identities and strengthen international cooperation. Therefore, the diplomatic relationship among UNESCO, WIPO, WTO this underscores the need for balanced approach and one that respect cultural heritage while ensuring economic empowerment. Together, these frameworks can pave the way for a future where culture and commerce complement each other and which creating a more inclusive and cooperative global communities. GI dispute in South Asia vividly illustrate the clash between cultural heritage, national pride, and economic interests. This dispute revolve around the question of who rightfully owns a product unique identity, a product whose reputation is deeply intertwined with a specific reason. They are not isolated legal battles, but are emblematic or history, emblematic of historic traditions and the challenges posed by divergent national intellectual property regimes amidst ever evolving global trade standards. A wave of outrage was witnessed last year when especially Bangladeshi people, when a contentious claim by India's Ministry of Culture surfaced regarding the origin of the Tangal Shari, traditionally and unquestionably associated with the Tangal district in Bangladesh, and Tangal Shari have remained an enduring symbol of Bangladeshi cultural heritage through the ages. However, a significant decision has recently sparked considerably debate and concern. The GI tag for Tangal Shari has been awarded to West Bengal, India, an outcome that has raised question and stirred emotions within our community. On the 1st of February 2024, the Ministry of Culture in India shared a post on social media, especially in Facebook, stating, and I quote here, the Tangal Shari originated from the West Bengal and is a traditional handwoven masterpiece. Such assertions challenge the historical and cultural integrity of Tangal Shari as an emblem of our national heritage. It is imperative that we stand united in safeguarding our traditions and ensuring that our cultural treasures receive the recognition they rightfully deserve. The realm of international diplomacy, geographical indication, or GIS play a significant role in fostering cooperation and protecting cultural identity through GI diplomacy. GI diplomacy refers to the diplomatic effort and negotiations among nations to ensure the protection and management of geographical indication, particularly in the context of international trade. And these efforts encompass a range of activities, including bilateral agreements, participation in multilateral forum, and the resolution of dispute over contested or shared GIS. In essence, GI diplomacy provides a platform where nations can assert their rights, which protect their heritage and build bridges of cooperation through cultural and economic exchange. At the core of international framework governing GIS in the agreement of TRIPS, which is established in 1995 as part of the WTO framework. And you know very well. And TRIPS provide the foundation for GI protection on a global scale. Article 22 of TRIPS defines GIS and mandates minimum standards for their protection. These standards focus on preventing misleading use of GIS and ensuring fair competition. The European Union has been a staunch advocate for expanding GI negotiation under the WTO's Doha Development Agenda. The uh, European Union's aim is to establish an international register for GIS and extended their protection beyond wines and spirit to all products and reflecting the growing importance of GIS in diverse industry. In addition to the effort under the TRIPS framework, WIPO has made significant contribution to GI diplomacy. And WIPO administers the Lisbon system, which offers a streamlined process for obtaining protection for appellation of origin access multiple countries through a single registration. However, most of the South Asian countries already mentioned that they didn't join this Lisbon Agreement. And this system fostered international cooperation and simplified the protection of GI as globally. Moreover, WIPO facilitates discussions on policy and legal issues through the Standing Committee on the Law of Trademarks, Industrial Design, and Geographical Indications, which is called SCT. This forum serves as a vital space for member states to engage in collaborative dialogue, which address challenges and explore innovative approaches to GI protection. In fact, GI diplomacy is a powerful mechanism that not only secure the economic and cultural value of regional products, but also build pathways for international collaboration. It bridges the gaps between trade, culture, and intellectual property, which ensuring that nations can preserve their unique identity is while fostering global partnership and by strengthening our diplomatic effort in this domain, we can create a future where cultural heritage and uh, economic opportunities thrives hand in hand. So, GI diplomacy operates through several key mechanisms, each reflecting the interplay between legal frameworks, trade relations, and cultural identities. First of all, we call it bilateral and plurilateral agreement. One of the primary methods in GI diplomacy is through bilateral and plurilateral agreement, and these agreements allow nations to protect their GIS within each other's markets and ensuring mutual recognition and safeguarding authenticity. For instance, Switzerland's forged bilateral treaties with countries such as Russia, Jamaica, and Georgia, which extending protection beyond the minimum standards required under WTO frameworks. Similarly, the European Union has been front runner in negotiation GI protection through free trade agreement, which is called FTAs, and standalone treaties. A landmark example is the China-European Union GI agreement, which came into force in 2021 and which facilitated the recognition of 100 GIS from each side. The second thing is multilateral negotiation. And at the multilateral level, GI diplomacy is carried forward under the WTO framework. And these negotiations aim to establish a global system of notification and registration for GIS, particularly for wines and spirits, and as outlined in the WTO agreements. However, ongoing debates center around extended, enhanced protection to other products, And these negotiations often bring to light differing perspective between developed and developing nations, and which reflecting constructing priorities. And developed nations, like member of the European Union, which advocate for robust and comprehensive GI protections, while developing countries emphasize equitable frameworks that also consider their unique challenges and opportunities. And number three, dispute regulation mechanisms. And this dispute over GIS are inevitable, which given the diverse cultural and economic interests involved. Diplomatic negotiations are often the first step in addressing such conflict. However, when bilateral efforts fail, dispute can escalate to the WTO's dispute settlement body for resolution. Interestingly, many GI disputes are resolved through legal channels within national jurisdiction rather than purely diplomatic means. For instance, opposition proceedings or court cases frequently address dispute over GI ownership or misuse. These mechanisms highlight the intersection of diplomatic and legal processes in GI management. For example, India is facing within its country that the Rasgulla dispute between Orissa and West Bengal. Uh, Therefore, the GI diplomacy bridges trade policy, intellectual property, and cultural preservation, and ensuring authenticity while fostering global cooperation and economic opportunity. Through bilateral agreements, multilateral negotiation, and dispute resolution, where nations can safeguard cultural assets and promote trade. Let us uh, champion a balanced approach that celebrates heritage and strengthen global partnership. To illustrate its significance, so we can examine several notable case studies, each demonstrating the complexity and nuisance of diplomatic efforts surrounding GI. Uh, First case, the Basmati rice dispute. It's worldwide known as a rice war. It's been happened India versus Pakistan, but not only and it's turned not only India versus Pakistan, but Bangladesh, Nepal, Sri Lanka also joined their own rights to disclose their own Bashmotis GI tag, and the dispute over the GI for Bashmati rice epitomizing the challenges of GI diplomacy. Both India and Pakistan lay claim to the product deeply rooted in their respective agricultural and cultural tradition. This has led to negotiation and legal battle, particularly in the European Union market, and India successfully registered its GI in the European Union and prompting Pakistan to file an opposition. Diplomatic efforts have included discussions at international fora, yet no final resolution has been achieved, reflecting the delicate balance required in navigating shared cultural assets. In a notable episode, Nepal emerged as a vocal opponent when India sought European Union registration of Basmati rice as a GI. Nepal also intervened, was rooted in the argument that the rice cultural and historical significance extended beyond its modern production practices, thereby entitling multiple nations to a claim of heritage. This dispute not only underscored deep rooted regional interdependencies, but also highlights the limitations of existing international framework, such as the WTO's TRIPS agreement, in resolving conflict where both historical and contemporary narratives intertwine, intertwined narratives. So, champagne GI protection, this is another example. It's been happening European versus others. The Europeans' effort to protect champagne as a GI exclusively for the Champagne region of France showcase how diplomacy can establish clear boundaries for GIS by preventing its use for sparkling wines from other regions such as the US and Australia. The European Union has demonstrated effective GI diplomacy through trade negotiation and discussion within WIPO frameworks. And this case highlights the ability of diplomacy to preserve authenticity while fostering international cooperation. And third number is the prosecute dispute, and it's been happened Italy versus Australia. Italy's pursuit of GI protection for Prosecco has been marked by registration and negotiation during Australia-Europe free trade talks. Australia initially opposed the GI claim, which allocating research grants to build a case against it. However, diplomatic effort persisted with legal proceedings in Singapore, eventually allowing Prosecco to be registered for Italian wines. And this case underscored the importance of persistence and comparison in GI diplomacy. And these examples reveal the multifaceted nature of GI diplomacy, where prolonged negotiations, legal processes, and cooperation shape outcomes by fostering mutual respect and collaboration. And GI diplomacy protects unique cultural identities while strengthening international trade relationships. Here, in fact, I would go with my second objectives for today's lecture, and I'm going to addressing an essential theme in cultural diplomacy. The frequent emphasis on sharing, and common in UNESCO's discourse, particularly in official documents and heritage nomination process. This term reflects a deliberate focus on collective heritage on that underscore cultural practices transcending border and uniting humanity through common tradition. The concept of sharedness within territorial studies and its relevance to UNESCO's framework for ICH, the idea rooted in academic literature, especially official UNESCO documents and case studies, which offers profound insights into the political and territorial implication of heritage and its institutionalization. Territorial studies examine the interplay between space, place, and social dynamics, often addressing sharedness in terms of how groups interact with and claim territory. There are two distinct interpretations of sharedness in the context, each carrying important implications for how social and spatial collectives are understood. First interpretation is based on sharedness as communality and sameness. And this likens sharedness to communality or sameness, where individuals come together to form cohesive groups such as nations or communities based on shared attributes like identity, language, culture, or territory. This view has historical roots in political philosophy, notably Thomas Hobbes' Leviathan, which is published in 1651. There, he described how a multitude become a people through a social contract within a defined territory, later developed by Ferdinand Tonis and Max Weber, and is critiqued by a scholar like Ernest Gellner and James C. Scott. And this interpretation focuses on the role of territory in creating cultural homogeneity. And here, sharedness evokes a sense of sameness, reinforcing a group identity and defining boundaries between neighboring groups, as Frederick Barth observed in his work on ethnic boundaries. However, this interpretation also carries the risk of exclusion, which creating an us versus them dynamic within territorial narratives. The second interpretation is sharedness as constitutive diversity. And this shift the focus to diversity, which emphasizing collaboration and interaction among individuals and groups through shared responsibilities, which duties and commitments. So these responsibility, duties, and commitments all are. And this perspective has gained prominence in recent decades, influenced by thinkers like Baruch Spinoza and Hannah Arendt, as well as literature on globalization and multiculturalism by scholars such as Ulrich Beck. And spatial application include shared space in multi-ethnic cities like Belfast, and the idea of shared values and shared memories invoked by Bhikkhu Parekh's report of the Commission on the Future of Multi-Ethnic Britain. In transnational context, this interpretation is relevant to agreements like those within the European Union, where diversity is celebrated over cultural sameness, and it reflects efforts to build collective identities that respect multiculturalism and global responsibilities. So, UNESCO emphasizes on sharedness and communality reflects the transformative power of cultural heritage to unite community and countries, whether through diplomacy, expert analysis, or personal practices, which shared heritage offers an opportunity to foster understanding, strengthen alliance, and celebrate our shared humanity. As we move forward, let us continue to embrace these principles, which safeguarding cultural heritage as the collective treasures for generation to come. This evidence, this is evident multinational nomination adopted by UNESCO's ICH committee, where states jointly submit applications for the representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. As example, I can talk about the Falcone. It's inscribed in 2010, initially involved 11 countries and later expand to 24, and reflecting shared values and practices such as training methods and the bond between Falcone and Bard. Second one is flamenco, and it's rooted in Andalusia, but also linked to regions like Murcia and Extremadura, showcasing shared cultural expression across Spain. But same thing is going by alpinism, likely tied to shared mountaineering practices among diverse communities and countries. The first interpretation and for focusing on communality, which is evident in how these nominations emphasized shared cultural elements and unified traditions. Falcone is described as a real social traditions which passed through generations and promoting a common heritage. The second interpretation focusing on diversity, which is emerged through the involvement of multiple states and communities in the safeguarding process and requiring cooperation and shared responsibility to manage and protect heritage. So, the use of sharedness in UNESCO heritage, in the case of the political and territorial implication, the use of sharedness in UNESCO heritage initiative presents both opportunity and challenges. The first interpretation can fuel nationalist narratives, which with state vying for ownership of heritage, potentially leading to tensions over territorial claim. And conversely, the second interpretation promotes inclusive policies but faces difficulties in balancing diverse stakeholders' interests, particularly in multi-ethnic cities or transnational arrangements. And interesting example is the expansion of Falcone's nomination from 11 to 24 countries by 2021, and which demonstrating how sharedness can evolve over time and with significant territorial implication for how heritage is defined and managed. Therefore, territorial studies provide two critical interpretation of sharedness: one rooted in nation building and common attributes, and the other emphasizing constitutive diversity and shared responsibility. These interpretations are essential for understanding UNESCO's Heritage of Humanity framework and its multinational nomination like Falcone, Flamenco, and Alpinism. By exploring this interplay, we gain insights into cooperation, diversity, and the political and territorial dimensions of heritage management. As we continue to safeguard cultural heritage, let us embrace sharedness in all its form, a concept that unites communities within respecting their unique identities. So, uh, I would like to address GI dispute among SAARC member states, and it is imperative to establish effective resolution mechanism that ensure fairness, cultural respect, and economic growth. And in that case, the three things I'm going to discuss here. One thing is alternative dispute resolution or ADI and sui generis system and European Union logo technology. Uh, In fact, alternative dispute resolution ADR offers a collaborative and cost-effective approaches. Mediation and negotiation under ADI framework can help nations resolve conflicts amicably, preserving regional harmony and fostering mutual understanding. And it's been developed under TRIPS or TRIPS by WTO, and WIPO also maintain this type of ADR. And adopting a sui generis system as an alternative dispute settlement mechanism can harmonize legal framework across member states of SAARC. In a world where shared cultural, social, and economic interests frequently give rise to dispute, and it is imperative that we consider tailored solutions that reflect the unique needs of our member states. A sui generis system offers precisely that, a specialized region-specific framework designed to address dispute in a manner that is collaborative, inclusive, and culturally sensitive. The need for sui generis system in SAARC, in that case, South Asia's rich cultural heritage and economic interdependence face shared challenges like dispute over resources, trade, and cultural assets, such as geographical indications or GIS, and existing global mechanisms fail to address the region's unique socio-cultural dynamics. A sui generis system tailored for SAARC can bridge this gap by ensuring cultural sensitivity, fostering collaboration through mediation, offering flexibility for customized solution, and involving multiple stakeholders for inclusivity. Such a system could resolve GI dispute over products like Tangal shari or basmati rice and address cross-border issues like river water sharing, Sundarban honey, Langra mango, and so many things. By enhancing efficiency, promoting trust, and preserving cultural identity, SAARC can lead a model for regional dispute resolution. Therefore, the idea of generic system embodies the principle that no one size fit all approach can address the complexity of regional dispute. For SAARC, this offers an opportunity to create a model of dispute settlement that is uniquely our own, one that reflects the cultural richness, diversity, and unity of South Asia. Let us seize this opportunity to pave the way for a more harmonized and cooperative future for our region. Additionally, drawing uh, inspiration from the European Union, logo technologies can be transformative. And the European Union's framework for GIS, which established in 1992. So remember this, it's happened before the TRIPS things been organized in 1995 by WTO. So European Union did it uh, 3 years before, and it has become a global model for safeguarding cultural heritage and promoting fair trade. It is built on three key designations. Firstly, let us consider the protected designation of origin, or PDO. This is the most stringent of the three designations. It applies to product whose quality and characteristics are essentially or exclusively due to a particular geographical environment with its inherent natural and human factors, and whose production steps all take place in the defined geographical area. Think of champagne, which products whose very essence is tied to their specific region of origin. The PDO guarantees that every stage of production, which from raw materials to final products, and occurs within the designated area, and which ensuring unparalleled authenticity. Secondly, the second logo, the middle one, we have the protected geographical indication, or PGI, and this designation, while still rigorous, which allows for a slightly broader scope, a PGI applies to products whose quality, reputation, or other characteristics are attributable to their geographical origin, and where at least one of the production steps takes place in the defined geographical area. For instance, Scottish salmon or Bavarian beer, while not requiring all products stays to occur within the region, the PGI still ensure a strong link between the products and its place of origin, highlighting the unique characteristics derived from the region. Finally, we have the third one, the traditional specialty guaranteed, or we call it TSG. And this designation focuses on traditional aspect of a product without necessarily linking it to a specific geographical areas. A TSG highlights a product's traditional composition or means of production. It ensures that consumers are aware of the traditional characteristics of a product, such as mozzarella or Napoleon pizza. The TSG emphasizes the traditional recipe or production process, safeguarding the authenticity of traditional production methods. By introducing unified certification marks, SAARC countries can collectively promote their GI level products, which enhancing market recognition and consumer trust while minimizing dispute. Through this mechanism, we can safeguard our shared cultural heritage, protect economic interests, and build a strong and more collaborative SAARC region. The Tangal Shari GI dispute between India and Bangladesh highlights the complexity of cultural heritage and intellectual property rights. Similarly, the Gruyere cheese case demonstrates how diplomacy can navigate such conflicts effectively, which has been happening between France and Switzerland. However, here how the Gruyere cheese diplomacy can inform the resolution of the Tangal Shari dispute. First, historical evidence and regional identity. In the Gruyere case, Swiss and French producers emphasized the historical and regional significance of Gruyere cheese to assert its GI status. Similarly, Bangladesh can strengthen its claim uh, by presenting historical evidence that ties Tangal Shari to the Tangal district, which showcasing its cultural and geographical tools. Second, collaborative framework. The Gruyere dispute involved negotiation within international frameworks like the European Union's PDO system. For Tangal Shari, a collaborative approach through SAARC or WTO mechanism can help establish mutual recognition and protect the heritage of both nations. Third, consumer awareness and market impact. Brewer diplomacy highlighted the importance of educating consumers about authenticity. Bangladesh and India can work together to promote the unique quality of Tangal Shari, which ensuring fair competition and market recognition for both regions. Third, alternative dispute resolution or ADI. The Gruyere case underscored the value of dialogue and mediation. ADR mechanism can be employed to resolve the Tangal Shari dispute amicably, fostering mutual respect and cooperation. By learning from the Gruyere cheese diplomacy, the Tangal Shari dispute can be addressed in a way that respect cultural heritage, which promotes fairness and strengthens original cooperation. Distinguished participants, thanks for your passions. I reached my last slide. Thanks for your patience again. And this is my last slide. And it is a here. In fact, I am going to talk on the on SAARC, how SAARC can participate here, and it is both a privilege and a responsibility to address an issue of immense importance: the need for a collaborative dialogue on GI dispute among the member states of SAARC as a nations bound by shared historic, rich cultural heritage and interconnected economics. The SAARC region represent a unique tapestry of tradition and products, from the fragrance basmati rice to Darjeeling tea. These GIS are not just economic assets, they are emblems of identity and pride. However, they have also been the subject of disagreement, often creating barriers to regional unity and shared progress. In that case, the challenges, the dispute over GIS in the SAARC region often stem from overlapping claims, cultural sensitivity, and economic competition. For instance, debate surrounding basmati rice highlights how unresolved GI disputes can strain diplomatic relations and impede economic opportunity. And these challenges are further compounded by varying legal frameworks and the lack of a unified platform for discussion and resolution. And in that case, the opportunities, it is time to transform these challenges into opportunities by seeking a dedicated space for dialogue. We can address GI dispute constructively and collaboratively. This space could serve as a forum for encouraging mutual understanding of each member state's cultural and economic stakes. Second, harmonizing GI protection mechanisms to promote fairness and transparencies. And third, resolving dispute through negotiations and mediation, shared solutions. So a call to action in that case, let us recognize that a unified approach to GI dispute will not only preserve our region's cultural heritage, but also enhance our collective economic potentials. By fostering trust and cooperation, we can turn GIS into symbols of collaboration rather than conflict. I urge all member states to come together, set aside differences, and prioritize the establishment of this much needed dialogue space. Together, we can ensure that the treasures of our region continue to inspire and enrich generation to come. So, thank you very much. Thank you, audience. Thanks for your kind passions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Masood, for the insightful lecture. As you have mentioned, I think you have like touched upon all aspects of GI rights. In your lecture, you have highlighted how heritage diplomacy through negotiation of GI rights offers crucial pathways for safeguarding the shared living cultural heritage of South Asia. At the same time, you have also spoken, about like the effectiveness, the effective implementation of these heritage uh, diplomacy through GI rights requires careful observation, as you have mentioned, robust legal frameworks that is included, and also effective enforcement mechanism, which you have already highlighted through citing examples of basmati rice, Tangail sari, Sundarban honey, or it could be there are many other examples like that. And what you have mentioned about this ADR, if it can be used in an effective way in the case of South Asia, I think in the case of South Asia, it can be very useful in handling these sort of disputes. By embracing ADR, the SAARC countries can move beyond these legal battles and foster more collaborative and mutually which can be mutually accepted solutions that effectively will safeguard their shared living cultural heritage while promoting regional cooperation and regional harmony uh, at the same time. So thank you very much for the lecture. Now I will encourage the online participants if they have any questions or any comments to make.
Okay, I can share something. Thank you for a wonderful presentation, Professor Dr. Masood Imran. Actually, I get from this product jointly for a global market. So yes, that we can go for a win-win situation uh, through the uh, this cultural diplomacy, and that we can have a better uh, South Asian regional cooperation something. So I'm really happy to listen your lecture. Uh, Hope that other participants have some questions. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Gulkarnan. Thanks for your remarks. I think a couple of questions are coming from text message.
Text
One,
messages, yeah. So Edison Naike has written, thank you for a very informative presentation. Thank you, SCC. Yeah. So there is a question: how can GI regimes be decolonized to reflect indigenous epistemologies and traditional custodianship of heritage rather than bureaucratic state-centric ownership?
one thing we should have to understand that uh, if we go with the decolonizing things, so you cannot talk about the copyright or intellectual property right things because this is the new level conditions which is playing here. So when it's indigenous or local traditional knowledge, if we started to make some barrier. There's the another colonial mindscape, but still we are living in a different world. So where near so where the IP right will be activated by 2028. So we have to enter that regime if we because our countries are signatory of WTO and UNESCO procedures. So these transnational agencies also overpowered our thinking and other things. So if we talk about that things, uh, so state-centric ownership is a very problematic thing, and so many discussion is going by all over the world. But we should have to, I think, pragmatic in that case because if already we are in trouble, so our government and every country should uh, uh, have to uh, 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 declare against these all treaties. If they go against treaties, then it will be possible that type of things. But if we go in the state-centric ownership and the regional ownership, we have to develop our own diplomacy. So in that case, I ask SAARC who can mediate these things and talk within this region. So how can we made a collective effort like Tangal Shari, Bangladesh, India both can use they use like brewer cheese I already mentioned. So everybody can, but there should be some policies and should be get couple of benefits of the producers also should get the buyers also get the advantage from there. So that's the very very important things. That the another thing is that basmati rice. Basmati rice also producer countries Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal, India, Pakistan. So how could one country own this basmati rice except the others? So that what will happen the other artisans and other farmers? So we should have to think that way with the mutual respect. So I think I able to address Sakun's question. And that another thing is that Dr. Indrajit Bhattacharya, thank you, sir, for such an informative lecture and very interesting explanation and suggestive approach to solve this issue. Also, thanks to the organizers and readers. Thanks, Dr. Indrajit Bhattacharya, to understand these things with your kind heart. Thank you very much. So, any other question or any remarks? Anything else? Anyone?
May I ask a question?
Yeah, please go ahead.
So thank you for the discussion, as always, informative discussion from Masood Mannu sir. I have just one question to Dr. Masood Mannu. That is, the India has more GI product from us. From if we compare Bangladesh has a lower GI product rather than India has more GI product from us. So according to Masood Mannu, so what is the main reason that they are having a more GI product? Is it the lack of awareness or the other issues are behind? So why we are not having that much of a GI product, and finally when they are registering their GI product, we are fighting that no, it's not yours, it's our product. So why this scenario is happening all the time? Thank you.
Thank you, Wahid Mugdal, for your question. You know that the Bangladesh, India, most of the countries was the signatory of TRIPS, TRIPS in 1995. But after that, India developed their own GI laws and they started to initiate that things. But Bangladesh joined very late there. In Bangladesh case, and other country also, the Nepal and other countries joined very late. Bangladesh joined this issue in 2013 when Bangladesh found that India already claimed uh, that Jamdani Shari as a GI tag. But by but Bangladesh already got the intangible cultural heritage tag from UNESCO in 2010. After that, Bangladesh found that they failed to protect their own artisans' products. So in that case, they start to aware themselves. But still, the law and other things has so many problems there. So that's the very major things why the other countries are very late than uh, India, because Indian bureaucracy, I think, is very smart than the other countries' bureaucracy and the government policies. So far, I understand. So another question is come from uh, Hassan, and Hassan joined from Germany, and he wrote that, "Thank you, Professor Imran, for such informative presentation on this complex and important matter. My question is, as South Asia is a unique region in terms of GI products, can SAARC come up with, if not a relations, at least a recommendation documents for dealing with such matter? There is many such recognitions documents from regional organizations and multinational heritage authorities, but in the global south or in South Asia, we do not have any such having such a regional recommendation documents could concise the countries. Hassan, thank you for your question. One thing that South Asia is not a special case. This thing's been happening all over the world. I already mentioned that China and European Union negotiated near about 100 products. Already war is going by between European Union and USA because of the milk product things. So USA struggling a lot against European Union, and also in why I mentioned the global south, because you found the Latin America also suffering with this type of things. So it should be negotiated, and SAARC as a regional cooperative organizations who can initiate within the South Asian countries to negotiate these things. Even China is not the part of SAARC, but SAARC also can negotiate with them, like European Union. So SAARC can start a dialogue. Why I delivered this lecture here, because I also wish that SAARC will open a dialogue among the countries, and it should be go with full of respect. And we are sharing so many intangible cultural things, and we are living in a shared culture, shared history, and shared things. So we should have to go with that things. One thing that I mentioned, that how can we understand sharings? Is it go with the nationalistic approach, or is a regional approach? So how the commonality is considered or sameness considered, and how UNESCO considered these things in their ICH convention in 2003, and why they call it for humanity. So we should have to understand these things properly, and SAARC should have to understand and go with this vision. Maybe SAARC will think that things. That's why I'm telling these things. And Sabikun Nahar wrote that, "Thank you, Professor Masood Imran Mannu, for delivering an insightful talk on heritage diplomacy. Your expertise enrich our understanding and truly an enlightening session." Thank you very much. Mugdha also gave us thanks. And Sakun again wrote that, "How are women, an informal worker, and marginalized ethnic communities integrated from GI-related benefits and policy making?" Is a very important question. You know that already GI things that SDG already incorporated there, and ICH also incorporate the SDG. And SDG, out of the 17 goals, there are a couple of goals belongs to the women's issue, and especially the that marginalized ethnic community. And now, when you start, recently I'm working on a on fluid. It's called bamboo fluid things, and it's working. So one of my master's research student in Bangladesh, and she is working on a village, and it's a totally marginalized ethnic peoples who are operating to produce this type of bamboo fluid. And it's also they export. Couple of things are exported in other countries. It's possible if they got the GI tag, and if the government declared that as a ICH, intangible cultural heritage, then there is a good possibilities. But it's very, very shameful for Bangladesh and other countries that they don't have their own policies. Still, they don't have ICH policies. Yet Bangladesh, so far I know, I don't know about Sri Lanka, but India has their own policies of ICH, intangible cultural heritage. Bangladesh has no policies there. So that's all. Thank you very much for my side.
May I ask a question, sir?
Yep.
Varsha Sutradhar, yeah, please go ahead.
So, as you talk about Tangal Shari in your uh, yeah, and then I have a question about that. The Tangal Shari's historical and cultural identity is deeply rooted in Bangladesh. Yet India has successfully obtained a GI tag for its version. What legal and diplomatic strategies can Bangladesh employ to challenge India's claim and secure its own GI recognition on international platforms? And another question is, when you talk about EU logos, there is three kind of logos: PGI, PDO, and if our tangle cherries production, processing, and preparation is happening in our country, in our specific region, then and it's also like they are sharing its GI claim, then what kind of UI logos we can use in that case, PDO or PGI? That's it, sir.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Barsha. Thank you for your question. And just a few minutes before, I was talking by one of his students who is working on this, and she is the Barsha Sutradhar, who is my master's research student. And yes, we can negotiate with. First of all, we should have to understand the sui generis system, and this system we can start the mutual dialogue between two countries. And in that case, I mentioned the Gruyere cheese. You know that Gruyere cheese is that town is authenticated with the Switzerland, but French people are producing the Gruyere cheese, and that's why the war is going by there. So, but after that, they negotiated uh, by mediating European Union. How they negotiate? Because of this trademark logo. So, Swiss Gruyere who are using PDO, and French Gruyere is using this this which I call PGI. So it's differentiated that one is developed in outside the Gruyere town, but this is the another Gruyere things, and that on the another Gruyere, because couple of people who are living in Gruyere once upon a time in Switzerland, they left that city and they moved to France, and there they started the same name cheese. So that's why the two cheese, the same people are doing that same thing. And in Bangladesh case, the Tangal Shari are still weavers are living in Tangal district in Bangladesh, but couple of weavers already shifted from here to India, West Bengal, and West Bengal, Nadia, and other regions. And they also, they were the weavers, and they also produced the same sarees. So in that case, these things can be act like a negotiator, like that PDU and PGI, this logo. But one problem in Bangladesh case, GI law, it cannot produce any trademark logo. It's a very handicapped law. That's why Bangladesh should have to review their law also. And so this the procedure can be and will be, and SAARC can be a mediator and can be a dialogue maker in that case. I think I can able to respond her. I think it's okay.
Thank you, Professor Masood, once again for your insightful presentation. I express my sincere gratitude to you, and I'm sure your talk has kind of generated many new avenues for research. So, and I also thank all the online participants for their engaging questions. We hope you found the session informative and inspiring. Um, the details of the next session of the SAARC Talk series will be posted on the SAARC website and through the SAARC's Facebook account. Therefore, I request all the online participants to subscribe to SCC Facebook account to get information about the upcoming events. So we look forward to your support and participation in our future events. Thank you all for attending this lecture. We hope to see you again. Have a great evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bina Gandhi, and
Yeah.
you all. Thank you very much.
অনেক অনেক ধন্যবাদ।
অনেক অনেক ধন্যবাদ।